I did corporate jobs up until I was 29 years old, and that's when my world kind of got a rude awakening. Then 2 weeks later, I was fired from my corporate job. And I said, if this isn't a sign, then I don't know what is. My gosh, it's kind of surreal that I'm finally making this video, finally launching my YouTube. It has been something that I've wanted to do since I was like 15 years old. Not even kidding. I feel like the journey to get me here is kind of my purpose in life and what I want to share with others. So I would like to formally introduce myself. My name is Sierra, and I am finally at 31, almost 32 years old, pursuing my dreams that I've had in my heart since I was a little girl. And those dreams are, number one, to be on YouTube and social media, share my life with others, help empower other women through my stories and help them grow. Number two is to be a model. Today's video is basically going to be a little bit about my journey and how I got here, because I feel like it's really important to share with others. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be in pictures. I wanted to be on film. I always dreamed of myself being in front of the camera. Gave up on the modeling when I turned like, 14. I was like, that's not happening. That was little Sierra's idea, not big Sierra's idea. But in the back of my heart, I still always wanted it, and I still always came back to it when I daydreamed. Like, that's what I was doing. When I was a teenager, a platform became really popular, which we know today as YouTube still is very popular. I started watching all the popular YouTubers at the time, and I kind of fell in love with the idea of having my own channel and being able to share my life with others. So it was kind of always something that I told myself I was going to do when I grew up, but I was in high school, so there was no way my parents were going to let me like film my life. I kind of put it in my back pocket, and I was like, I will come back to this one day. So I remember being like 16 or 17 years old, and it was the time where it's like you have to start applying to colleges, kind of figure out what you want to do with your life. And I was like, well, shoot, I want to be on social media, but that is never going to fly with my parents. So how can I kind of find something that would be similar to that? Maybe something that will combine my love of TV and photography and fashion and design. So I decided that I was going to go to fashion school, which, by the way, to tell people from small town Ohio that you want to go to fashion school, I got a lot of people that were like, so what do you really want to do when you grow up? So even that was like pretty far out there for me to want to do, but my parents kept saying like, what do you want to do? And that was the only thing I could come up with. And they're like, well, you got to go to college. So if that's what you want to go for, we support you. So I ended up graduating from my small town high school, and I went to community college for about a year because I was going back and forth with myself again. Like, is this fashion dream really attainable, or am I being delusional? Should I stay in my small town and just become a teacher or something like that? I was like, no, this is what I really want, so I'm gonna do it. So I ended up finding a fashion school. It was 2 hours from my hometown, so I moved there and loved it. I met some of my best friends there at that school that I still am friends with to this day. I got to do an internship in New York City, and I lived there for a semester, fell head over heels in love with New York City. Still am in love with New York City to this day. Still want to move there, even though I'm 31. I'm still not giving up on that dream either, but that's a whole nother video. So I worked in the fashion industry, ended up graduating college, and after college, I was trying to get a job in the corporate fashion world. I worked retail in between then, and I was finally able to get a job in Chicago. So I ended up moving to Chicago for my first fashion corporate job, my first big girl job, if you will. I had this idea of like the fashion industry and what it was. And I will say when I was in New York, it was very much like that. But when I went to Chicago and worked in corporate world, it was definitely more on the corporate side. So I immediately, I think I remember on day one, I was like, no, this is not for me. This is not going to fly. This feels like I am in a jail. And I know that's probably sounds crazy to say, but something within me just did not feel right about it. It just did not feel right. And I should have listened to that at that time. But again, rational Sierra and delusional Sierra were going back and forth and like cats and dogs, and was like, this is just how life is supposed to be. Not true. If you feel that in your soul, it's not how it's supposed to be. hate to break it to you. I was like, okay, well, now I have my big girl job. I should start posting on YouTube. I need to launch my channel. This has always been a dream of mine. I need to do it. So I started filming little videos of me just doing whatever around my little apartment, whether that was like cooking dinner or like trying on new clothes or a little skincare routine, whatever it was. But I could never bring myself to actually post it. I would always talk myself out of it and say, this is not good enough. No one's gonna like this. No one cares what you're doing. They're gonna think it's boring. So I talked myself out of it. And then I think at that time, I was like, okay, Sierra, if you can't even post the YouTube, how are you gonna be a YouTuber? Again, rational Sierra was like, this is not for you. It's not gonna work out. You can't even post the video. You're not gonna be a YouTuber. So that was the end of that dream. Although it still was inside my heart. Also, the modeling thing was as well, but I had gained some weight after college, as we all do. And I was like, nobody's gonna hire me as a model looking like I do, which in hindsight, that was BS. I should have still went after it. But again, delusional Sierra, talked myself out of it. So I came to the conclusion that corporate life was for me and I had to make it work. That's what I did. That first job, I ended up chalking it up to not liking the company, not the actual environment and the job itself. So I went to another company, worked there for a few years. It was fine, but I definitely was settling. I was not in love with the career I was doing. I was just kind of coasting, and I was fine with that because I thought that's what life was going to be like for me. And all these crazy wild dreams I had within myself before, again, I said, I told myself they were not practical. It was not going to happen. So I did corporate jobs up until I was 29 years old. So a few years ago, and that's when my world kind of got a rude awakening, to say the least. I was never happy at any of these jobs. Let me tell you that first and foremost, but I wasn't brave enough to make the move and do what I wanted to do in my heart. So the evening of my 30th birthday, the night before I turned 30, I remember laying in bed and saying to myself, you have all of these dreams that have been within you since you were a little girl. You've tried different jobs within the corporate world. It's not fulfilling your tank here. It's not making you happy. You're just coasting. You are just being okay with being average and normal, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I always felt like I had more to offer than average or just being normal. I kind of went face to face with myself. I know that doesn't make sense, like literally, but in the sense of I told myself, we're either doing this in your 30s or you're going to give up on this dream right now. I need you to make a choice. And I sat there and I thought about it and I couldn't give up on it. I couldn't give up on my dreams. I couldn't do it. I came to realize in that moment, giving up on my dreams would be like giving up on my life. And if I did that, number one, I'm like getting a little emotional while saying this, but I would never be able to live myself if I did that. And if I were on my deathbed and I looked back and I never gave it a shot, I would never forgive myself for it. So that's when I vowed that I was going to go all in. I was going to go all in no matter how scary it was, no matter how difficult it was, no matter what came my way. I was giving it my all and I was going to do it. I vowed to myself that night that my 30s were going to be the decade where I went all in on my dreams and on the version of myself that I've had in my heart for so many years, but I gave up on. And I decided right then and there that was happening. And then 2 weeks later, I was fired from my corporate job. And I said, well, if this isn't a sign, then I don't know what is. So I could have easily gotten another corporate job doing the same stuff that I've been doing for the past 10 years almost. I am not doing it. So I said, okay, started my TikTok channel a few months after that happened. I, for the first year, didn't really post consistently. I was kind of just doing little funny videos whenever I had a chance. Didn't really take it seriously. I was getting married that year, so I was a lot more focused on my wedding, to be quite honest. But I got married last June, and after I got married, we traveled a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I'm going all in. I told myself I'm going all in. So I've been posting consistently on TikTok for 10 months now almost. Have been able to grow a small audience there. I love making TikToks, but the thing about TikTok is you only have so many seconds to get your message across before the next person scrolls on your video, and I have a lot to say. So I kind of came to the realization a few months ago, hello, Sierra, why aren't you posting on YouTube? Hello, like, you have a lot to say. You do probably better on YouTube with your messages than they are doing here on TikTok. Been posting on YouTube. I've been posting short format videos for a few months now. Finally, a month or so before my 32nd birthday, finally, this will be my first YouTube video. So I am so excited to officially be launching my channel and to be going after a dream that I have had for so long. I want this channel to be all about my journey to get here, number one, also my journey of finally pursuing my dreams, finally being on social media, and finally starting to model. I've been with my modeling agency for about a little bit over 6 months now. I still have a long way to go. I have not booked any jobs. I will be honest with you. I've booked nothing, but I'm not giving up because I believe in myself and I believe in my journey and I believe in the message that I am trying to get across to women all over the world, which is, number one, you're never too late or too early to pursue your dreams, and that fire that's within you, all those things that you see when you daydream, they're all possible. You just have to start. Also, with my modeling, I am trying to help the industry become more body inclusive. And a lot of people might think that the industry is more body inclusive than it has been in years before, which it is. However, I don't know if you realize this, but now in modeling, before you had to be a size like 2 or lower to be a model, okay, now that's still a thing, but then now there's a second tier where it's like size 12 plus, you're a plus size model, but there is no space for the women in between sizes 4 to 10, and that's where I fall. And I just think that's BS, to be quite honest. I am so here for body positivity. I'm so here for making sure that every woman is represented, no matter their body type, their weight, their skin color, their eye colors, their ethnicity, what have you. We all need to be represented. And that's why I feel very passionate about my modeling journey, because I have jiggle on me. I do. I'm a woman. We naturally have a little jiggle in places, and that's fine and that's normal. And why can't we be in a magazine with a belly or some arm fat, like some thigh fat, wherever the fat is? Like, it's normal for women to have fat on their bodies. And I'm just so over like this image of like even plus size models not having any jiggle or fat to them. It just is like, I don't know, what's the point? That could be a different video for another time, but I am here to share my journey, like I said, with everyone that wants to come along with me on it. And I hope in the midst of all of it, I can help other women see their potential, grow, follow their dreams, and chase that fire within them. Because I feel like so many women, we give up on our dreams for a life that just feels average, and some people are okay with that, then that's totally fine. But some people just do it because they feel like they should by default. And that's how I felt for a really long time, but no more. I'm getting out there. I'm doing all the things. I'm doing hard things, to say the least. I'm doing scary things, but this is a person I really want to be at my core. So why shouldn't I get out there and do it? I am so happy to finally be here and be sharing my journey and hopefully inspiring other women to get out there and live their best lives too. I will see you all in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.